What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of GEARBreakerNation. We'll give excellent assessment and reviews. And in this video, I would love to just talk about how the Fallout series could be better fleshed out by having books. Now, I'm a huge fan of following video game franchises and movie franchises, but through like the different, works of media that they might have. Like Gears of War has video games. They're even going to come out with a movie, I heard, and they got books, so I like to follow that. Halo has various video games, comic books, and books. I like reading those types of materials that help flesh out the whole idea of the franchise. So Fallout is definitely no exception. Of course, I haven't played the first games. I've got part 3. I've got New Vegas. I've enjoyed 4. I got Shelters. But I would love for them to sit here and put out some freaking books. There is just so much content to Fallout that there is no reason why they shouldn't have this whole line of series of books to help flesh out these stories that can be told from this post-apocalyptic wasteland. So you can go on personal journeys and just write about some of the characters, if not the main characters, then all of these companions that you see in the games. Why not give them their own stories? They put a book out for each one of those. I'm sure it'd be really interesting. Think about Fallout New Vegas. You have Cassidy. You can follow her story as her being this former merchant, whose father ends up getting murdered. That'd be like a great story to just kind of go off of in the Mojave Desert. Think about Fawkes, Fawkes the super mutant in Fallout 3. You can sit there and go behind his story of why he is who he is. That'd be a great way. Think about Kate from Fallout 4. You can follow her personal story as she's this young girl who's given up and becomes a slave and just go through all these trials and tribulations and tries to find vengeance on the parents who gave her up, and eventually ends up meeting the protagonist from Fallout 4. Like, that'd be a great story. Or Piper, the newswoman, the journalist in Fallout 4 who's just went through so much and trying to do the right thing and be a good person, all the things that she has to go through. That would be a great book to publish. I would love to see that world completely fleshed out. All of these great characters, or just a small bit of the Fallout universe. They could be so much just deeply explored and enriched. I would love to see these characters and these personal journeys, or maybe even after what happens after Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, a story on the main characters who survived all of those just badass adventures. You can kind of see what happens afterwards, or take it into a totally different direction with different places. That would be a great idea for a Fallout book. I would love for them to explore this. In terms of stories, also, you could probably jump into the past and kind of have a great elements where, what build up to the war. Like, that would be a great way of fleshing out some of the setting of Fallout, where you can actually see the past and either jump back to the present or just solely focus on the past, which is one of the great things about Fallout 4 is you get to see a glimpse of the past before the war. So I think that'd be a great and awesome idea as far as setting and backstory, which will help give just more depth to this, give more depth to the characters, or maybe even have like paralleling, storylines, one in the past, one in the present. Like, that'd be a great and awesome way of fleshing out the story. Even have like what built up the Brotherhood of Steel, or talk more of, if you want to go a militaristic way, go do the Brotherhood of Steel way. Or if you don't want to do the Brotherhood of Steel way, go to the Enclave. Like, that'll be a great way of fleshing out what the Enclave really were. Because the Enclave were a pretty badass group, but at the same time, you really don't get enough of who they are or what they are about. Like, that'll be a great way of fleshing out the Enclave, or maybe even flesh out how the Enclave broke off from the Brotherhood of Steel, or the war between the Enclave and Brotherhood of Steel. Like, I think that'd be a great way. Also, you can even have the NCR. Like, that'd be a great way of fleshing out. Or you have the Kaiser's Legion. You can sit here and just talk about, how these two are fighting one another in the past that built up and everything, and a war over the dam. Like, that'd be a great way of fleshing out the Fallout games, the Fallout universe, even Fallout 4, talk about the Brotherhood of Steel, Dance. You can sit here and have a story focused on Dance's missions that brought him to the Commonwealth and what happened when he got there. Or Preston Harvey, have a story based on him, what happened to the Minutemen, how they fell apart. Like, that would be a great way to flesh out more of these games. Oh my gosh, I can't see. I could barely contain myself with these ideas. You know, it'd be a great way. I'm talking to Bethesda. Bethesda, you have the content. Do what needs to be done. Make books out of these games. Flesh these books, flesh these games out, flesh these characters out, flesh these settings out, flesh all of these great events out. Also, you can use the games to actually kind of utilize how terrifying the creatures are in the series. Me, I would love to see, you know, maybe a merchant ends up being chased down by a Deathclaw. Get the feel of how these creatures are actually a menace and threatening to humanity. Also, think about radiation, you know, think about struggling for supplies and food and bartering and raiders and the elements. Like, this would be a great way of fleshing out all of those. As much as the games are awesome, you don't get that same personal feel for the setting, the characters, the environment, the creatures, the real threats, like you would if you actually were reading about it. Now, you could argue that if you put the game on hard, you could actually, you know, suffer from hunger, lack of sleep, you know, greater threats, and more, you know, the environment and stuff. But I'm talking about just solely for the book's purposes. But I would like to see that. I would love to see the Fallout universe just be fleshed out more and more. That's just all I have to say on it. I have to tell you guys, I love Fallout. It's one of my all-time favorite video game franchises. It's completely awesome. It has so much depth. It has so much content. There are so many great stories that can be told. And if you want to do the anthology thing, I think that'll be even awesome. Anthologies are completely awesome. Put a book out with like 4 stories in it and make them badass stories. Gives you so many different perspectives, you know what I mean? But make it Tales from the Fallout universe. Something, I don't know. Fallout Tales. I don't know. Alright guys, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on Fallout as a book series. Do you think they should have a book series of Fallout? I personally think they should, to help flesh out the characters and the different stories. But guys, I want to know your opinions on that. And also, if we do have stories, what kind of stories would you want to be told? And where? And after who? You know? There are so many characters and so many settings that have yet to be explored. The possibilities are potentially endless. And I guess I'll catch you guys in the next edition of GearBreakerNation. And remember, keep those gears turning.